What is up, guys? Today I'm going to be getting into two of my game predictions for week 6 of the college football season. It is already October. We are in our final 2 months of the college football season. So we've got two ranked matchups today that I will be going over. Vandy, Alabama, and Miami versus FSU. So first off, Vandy and Alabama. Well, first off, I guess I should say I was very wrong about last week in my Bama Georgia prediction and also my Oregon Penn State prediction, but that doesn't pertain to this right now. But I think one of three last week, which is not great. I got Ole Miss, but that was it. So, anyways, off topic. Bama goes into Athens, Georgia last week against a tough Georgia team with a tough road environment, a team that hasn't lost at home since 2019, and they go in there, and I think they lead the whole game, or at least from the moment that they scored their first points, and they win the game 24-21. A big performance by some Miami transfers. I think Isaiah Horton was the leading receiver for Bama, and I think Colby Young was the leading receiver for Georgia. So, anyways, uh, yeah, definitely not bitter about that. We couldn't develop them. But regardless, Alabama comes in with a ton of momentum, a ton of hype, a ton of praise behind their name. They just beat a top 5 Georgia team, and now they play Vanderbilt this week. Sounds oddly familiar. Last year, the exact same thing happened, and it was on this day last year that in Nashville, Tennessee, Vanderbilt took down Alabama in an absolute shootout, and the goalposts were taken down at First Bank Stadium. Diego Pavia announcing himself to the country. Unfortunately, though, Bama's season kind of went in an upwards trajectory for the rest of the way until they lost to Oklahoma later on. Meanwhile, it was the opposite for Vandy. They, I think, started the year like 6-3 and then lost their final 3 games. So not a great finish for the Commodores to the season, but that doesn't affect today. So, in terms of my prediction, I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. These are two very high flying offenses. You know, Ty Simpson looked like an absolute baller last week against Georgia. I don't believe Vandy's defense is as good as Georgia's, so it's gonna be a challenge certainly for Vanderbilt's defense to contain all of these weapons that the Tide have. Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, Jam Miller in the run game. So I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that very consistently. If Vandy were to win this game, I think the final score would be like in the 40s probably, but I don't see that happening. I don't know if Vandy's offense is going to be able to sustain the success that they can have throughout the course of the game. I'll take the Tide in this one at home. Kalen DeBoer, apparently he's wearing the prestigious black hoodie today or something that they almost never lose in, so whatever that means, but yeah, don't let me down. So I'll take Bama in that one. The second game is going to be Miami and Florida State, a game that probably would have had College Game Day written all over it, but then Florida State enters a spooky, scary Scott Stadium on a Friday night in Charlottesville, Virginia, and does not escape without a loss. So now Florida State, after all that hype, drops about 10 spots in the rankings. Well, there are two ways, or generally two directions in which this could take them. I think, they could have, maybe you could say, similar to Boston College last year, where they just absolutely plummet the rest of the way after their first loss, or they take this loss as a lesson and they improve and, get a bunch of wins under their belt and so on and so forth. Well, this week they play Miami, who is obviously number 3 team in the country, 4-0 out of conference, but the first conference game for the Canes, the first road game for the Canes, the first game away from home, and a rivalry game on top of all that. So, again, I think this one also will be a decently high scoring game. I think these are, you know, well, let's see. Florida State has a very potent offense, a lot of good weapons, and a very dynamic, talented quarterback at the helm in Thomas Castellanos, that they will definitely incorporate along with those weapons throughout the game. Their defense, I don't think, is very strong, as we saw against Virginia. I mean, maybe just had a bad night as a unit, I don't know, but regardless. I think this will be a very high scoring game as well, so Carson Beck is going to have to push this Canes offense down the field continually throughout the night, and I guess consistently is a better word for it. So it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a neck and neck battle. I think it's gonna be coming down to the wire, and I think we're gonna find out our answer only late in the game, if not even in overtime. So, in terms of my prediction, I'm gonna go with the Canes in this one. I'm going with Miami. Um, we don't lose in October as a good team. It's only late November that we'll lose to Pitt and Syracuse and Virginia Tech and such. So I'm going with Miami here, going with my gut, and hopefully I am proven right. Yeah, hopefully I'm proven right. So, anyways, that is it for this one. I will see you guys hopefully with a week 6 reaction video soon. So, I will see you guys then.